Queen Elizabeth I had many ladies-in-waiting, but she only trusted Bess of Hardwicke to do her dirty work, and it paid off. Bess was the wealthiest woman in Tudor England, and her life testifies to the heights a lady could achieve with the help of a little cunning, and about 4 rich, dead husbands. More on that later. Elizabeth Bess Cavendish's life began long before that of her famous patron, Queen Elizabeth I. Born somewhere in the 1520s, Bess came into the world at a time of great contention. King Henry VIII was desperately trying to rid himself of his first wife in order to marry Anne Boleyn. Bess may have been just a child, but she eventually ended up betrothed to the son of a neighbor, Robert Barlow, just a few years younger than Bess, and the heir to an estate not far from the Hardwickes in Derbyshire. When Robert's father fell ill, the Barlows rushed the marriage between Robert and Bess. So, in May of 1543, Bess became a wife. She didn't know it at the time, but Bess of Hardwicke's future wasn't as set as she thought when she'd wed Robert Barlow. Just a year after their quickie marriage, Robert passed suddenly at the age of 14, leaving Bess a teenaged widow. For Bess, it was surely a heartbreaking loss, but also a blessing in disguise. As the widow of an heir, she'd at least get some of his estate, right? Bess of Hardwicke, widow at 16, was entitled to 1/3 of her late husband's estate, but instead she got a cruel surprise. Robert's family disavowed the marriage and said that Bess had no claim to his estate. Plus, the Court of Wards got involved, since Robert hadn't yet reached the age of 21. It was a horrible insight to an already grieving Bess. But you don't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, and she wasn't about to take this slight sitting down. Though the amount wasn't much, she eventually brought the Barlow family to court and won, but it was a process that took years, and in the meantime, she had to figure out what to do to get by. Bess didn't exactly have a strong foothold in Tudor society. No one in her family had risen above the rank of squire, after all. Still, it wasn't that big of a world before her, and all she needed was to be in the right place at the right time to meet an advantageous match. Roughly 3 years after the passing of her first husband, Bess met Sir William Cavendish. They were in such a rush to take their vows to each other that they had tied the knot at a friend's house at 2 a.m. Bess had been married before, so she knew what she was getting into, right? On the surface, Bess and Cavendish couldn't have been more different. But beyond that, they were, surprisingly, a match made in heaven. Like Bess, he was the son of a squire. Both were ambitious, and their personalities were very much alike. And unlike others, he respected her opinion. He even sold some of his land in order to buy more near her hometown of Derbyshire. The same year that Bess became Lady Cavendish, King Henry VIII finally kicked the bucket, leaving the throne to his sickly son, Edward VI. Keyword: sickly. Edward VI reigned for just 5 years before he passed, leaving England in a succession crisis. When Mary I became queen, the succession crisis became a religious one. A fierce Catholic, Mary sought to turn back against the Protestant reforms that Henry had made. This turn of rulers and religion was the perfect opportunity for Lord and Lady Cavendish to find a niche within the Tudor court. Bess's marriage to Sir William Cavendish had turned the tides of her fortune in dramatic ways. Once technically homeless, she now had 2 houses, one in the country and one in the city, not to mention the rest of the household staff. But her domestic duties came with a disturbing dark side.